So day one, we got all of our supplies delivered after about 2 months of waiting. We put the concrete and stuff in the garage so it didn't get wet and destroyed, basically. But we left the other boards and stuff outside, just covered by a tarp. This is day 2, but these days are not consecutive. These guys have day jobs too, and they're doing this, working for me on nights and weekends to get this deck built. But man, they've gotten so much done. So the first thing they had to do was get rid of those concrete stairs. One thing I never really noticed that my guy pointed out to me was how those stairs, one was kind of small and one was a lot bigger. Never noticed it. So this is in the basement, and I'm looking up because they said, oh, look at this. Look at that. There's no wood left there. There was only insulation. And so that's probably why I've been getting water in my basement. So the board on the left of that one and the board on the right are all right, but that one in the middle is just, I turned the light off so you can see it. You can see the daylight coming in. So they're gonna remove these stairs and then repair all of this. It was crazy. He actually said there was like no flashing there at all. So they had to put metal flashing along all that. But they do that later. First, it's a full day of getting rid of these steps. I mean, hours with this jackhammer. I cannot imagine doing that kind of labor. I would think that you would go to bed at night and feel like you're vibrating still. But oh my gosh, these guys are troopers. Talk about hard workers. You know how it is anytime you do a home project, you never know. Look at that hole in my side of my house. Oh my gosh, there's the backyard. You can see the trees. But you never know when you do a home reno what kind of fun extras you're gonna find to spend your money on. So yeah, this was ours. Gonna need a little flashing at the bottom of the house because there is none. Because why? I don't know. Here's a different tool he's using to try and... It was nice having it right next to the door because the girls could watch but stay out of the way. It was like a zoo for contractors. Contractors? What's it called? Contractors? Anyway, that was an interesting saw that he used to cut that concrete. Oh my gosh, it just wears me out watching him do that though. Oh man, he's got to hold it and support it. So I muted all the power tool sounds because they were kind of loud. The girls pretty much stood there for the entire 5 hours that it took for these guys to do this. It was like the most interesting thing for them. A really cool educational afternoon for those girls, seeing how everything works, seeing how construction workers would demolish a giant chunk of concrete and how much work actually goes into it. Look at that. It's just got the jackhammer stuck in there. It's hilarious. Oh, look how pitiful that looks. Yes, that is termite damage, if you're familiar with the look of that. But we had it treated. It's from before we actually lived in the house. So that is old termite damage. And there's no new activity or anything. But I'm glad to get all that out of there and replaced with what's supposed to be there. And there it is. This is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is glorious. There's a big pile of concrete and no stairs. And all the bad stuff has been revealed, and we know what we need to do to fix it. So I say we. They know what they need to do to fix it. So it's pretty exciting at this point. I mean, it took a long time to do that part, and everything else goes a lot quicker. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Just looks like if you touch it, it would crumble and fall apart. The guys were kind enough to tarp that off for me, so if it did rain that night, nothing would get into the basement. I had to call the cable company and get them to come out and move the cable box up so they can repair that damage there. So there's the cable box. And then the rest of the day, they just spent clearing out all that nasty eaten up termite wood and putting a board under the threshold so that, there's like a wall. So there's not open air. See, there's a hand. Yep. There's so many holes in my house at that moment. So there they are putting the board on. So they get that attached, and it does a couple really good things. One, it makes it to where the elements, raccoons aren't going to be able to just walk into my house now. But it also shores up that threshold there. It's a good feeling seeing that new solid piece of wood. So look at that, they took the vent off. That's where my dryer vent is usually, and they're gonna run it straight out under the deck. And look at that, they had to take all that off. And he said all that down there looked good, but they take the siding off so they can put the plate on. And I asked him, everything looked good? And he was like, yep, looks good now. And there's what they call the plate. This is what keeps what we drill into when they're putting on the decking. So it's pretty exciting. Things really start to pick up in pace now that the demolition is done and all the prep work is done. I came out and they had already had this much of it done without me really even knowing they were there yet. So it's pretty exciting. I tried to document as much of this as I could without getting in their way. I didn't want to slow them down or make them at all uncomfortable, but I did want to document as much of this process as I possibly could. Digging the post holes, oh boy, so exciting. You know what's coming next. This was a long and laborious part too for them, is digging those post holes. But they got it done. They spent a few hours out here this day getting all these posts in the ground and set. And not as long as it took to do all the jackhammering. That was a full day almost. It was about a 5-hour day. This was less than that. But still, visually, a lot more got accomplished this day. They got the post up and all their supports. And so there's Bruce coming out, checking on Louie. And so it made a big difference getting those posts up. He kind of showed me on the post where the roof will hit when it's up. So, oh, it's exciting. No more water in the basement. Yay! We were discussing how he had to turn the water off so he could turn that spigot sideways so we could still use it. There you can see the dryer vent, how they ran that out under the deck. So that's nice. And there they got that much decking on before they realized that they had been shorted. So they had to go back to Lowe's. And there's Louie. Well, go back to Lowe's and get some more decking. And then I had to deal with that getting refunded later. So one of them held the boards in place with the pole while the other one screwed them in. And that seemed to work pretty well. These kids are smart. gutters up. Everything's pretty much done. And now we have a porch, a deck, a covered deck porch thing. It's where we have bonfires. Look at that roof. He said if I had some white exterior paint, he would paint that board right there, all that stuff white, so it would all kind of all go. So that would be nice. And we're also talking about building a step right there, just one bigger step. My dad said it would be a good idea, so I'm like, okay. But I'm super happy with it, very excited. And it felt like it happened really fast. I guess I was expecting it to take like a couple months. I don't know. Every time you talk to anyone about construction, they're always like, it takes forever. So this seemed like it came together pretty quickly. And I'm happy. Just in time for fall. To sit out here and drink a coffee. Oh! Listen to all the birds, because there's a lot of them. But that's about it, guys. So thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Other than that, we'll see you next time.